Okay, hi everyone. So I'm Julie Connor. I am a retired Foreign Service officer. I spent 33 years doing that. And so it's fascinating for me, for example, to watch what President Biden is doing over there in Europe on his first foreign trip, because that's the kind of visits that I used to work and do prep work and after work and everything anyway. But I'm trying not to work on or to pay as much attention to foreign affairs, international affairs, because I've pivoted to do what I thought I was going to do when I was young, which is write, be a writer. I have 2 books out now. My first book is Nonfiction, which is why I'm a member of this organization, and it's on the Camino de Santiago, which Red has also walked. And I'm working on my second book on the Camino. And then I published in December my second book, which is totally different subject, children's book on international adoption. It does have the international aspect, which is what my area, we can say. I'm interested in travel, international affairs, and so forth. But it's a totally different genre. So I haven't done as much work on it yet as I should have. The pandemic has slowed me down and everything, but that's where I am.
Well, why don't you tell us what, go ahead and start into your slideshow, because that really and truly encompasses the whole thing. You, like I said, you did a super job the last time I saw this.
Okay, so I'm hoping you can see this first slide.
I can.
Okay, so I put this presentation together originally for another group, as Red says, but I have updated it because some things have changed. So I myself was intrigued by the idea of awards, and the person who piqued my interest was Mike Colas, who is a member of this group also. And he writes about awards in his book. So I've been thinking about this a lot because I seem to have a desire, an inner desire to apply for awards. So why should anyone try to win an award? Well, of course, the first point is it's prestigious. It's an independent validation that your book is worth reading, that it's well written, that it's an interesting subject, that it's worthwhile for readers to pick it up. And also I found that winning an award gives me content that I can then use for a press release, to put on my social media, to put on any advertisements I want to run. So it gives me content, and of course content is the most important thing for us. It also theoretically increases the value of my book, and that people who are looking for a book about the Camino, for example, will say, oh goodness, this book has won a lot of awards, so it must be pretty good. And most important for me, I think, it just makes me feel good to win an award. This last year has been kind of rough in the sense of not being able to go out and meet people and market my book in person, but I'm marketing my book through these awards to independent validators. So there's different strategies about awards. Mike Colas in his book says, just win one award, get yourself one award, and then you can say, it's an award-winning book, and that's all you need. And that's certainly one strategy, and it works. I mean, you don't get to say, I'm a 4 award-winning book, you just say it's an award-winning book. So it also, of course, takes up less time if you just apply for one award and win it, and that's it, you're done. But I like awards, and so I look around for awards that are relevant, and I apply for them. I didn't apply for everything at once. I look around, I apply for 1 or 2, I see how I do, and then I apply for 1 or 2 more. Something that I have not been very good about is to get an award as soon as I can. You can actually apply for awards before your book is even published by sending in a manuscript, but I haven't done that. It's something to think about, though. And you definitely then want to use your awards, if you win them, on all your promotional material. There are the most valuable awards, of course, are those who are really relevant to your area. So if you're a mystery writer, to get an award from one of the mystery groups that gives out awards and so forth. But in my particular area, in nonfiction writing, that's not so many awards available. Now here's a new organization I wanted to alert everybody to. It's called Book Award Pro, and it solves some of the problems that I brought up the last time I did this presentation. This is an app, basically, And so, you know, they used to have these huge, big, thick guides of all the awards that you could look like. They used to, you know, wide writers market, big, thick guide. You could look up things, but it's all online now. And this is the app that has taken over for all those big books. They supposedly have 3,500 awards listed in their software, and you can sign up for them. They have various price plans. The one that I'm signed up for is just $9 a month, and they will send you several times a month an announcement. You should consider applying for this award or that award or another award. So that's the basic plan. And it just tells you the awards that your book qualifies for. That is, it's the right genre, it's the period where they're accepting submissions, whatever, you know, whatever the guidelines are, your book fits in those guidelines. Now there's the next level up, is $59 a month, but it won't just tell you what's out there, it will also identify what, in their opinion, is the best book for you, the best award for you to apply for, the one you have the most chance of winning. And then the highest level is $189 per month. And in that category, they not only identify the best award for you to apply for, but they will also apply for you for one award a month, including paying the fee, whatever the fee is to apply for that. Now, some fees are low, but some fees can be pretty hefty. And basically what this does for you is it takes a lot of the work away if you want to go for that much money. As I said, I'm just trying this group out. I've started with the essential level. I'll see how that goes. And then maybe next time we talk, I can give you my thoughts about this Book Award Pro app. But the old standbys, and I'm going back to them, is this Alliance of Independent Authors, ALLI. They do a moderated, I would call it, list of awards. So they do on their special site. This is it, selfpublishingadvice.org author-awards contest. Well, if you go to their site, you can get to the awards page. But they list only 118 awards. So you can see there's a big difference between 118 here versus 3,500 that the Book Pro, the Award Pro says they have. But what this group does is they look at the awards and they make recommendations. So they have 3 categories: blue are recommended, yellow are mixed, and orange is caution. They're looking at how much you're being charged, whether the contests are really good contests, whether they try to push other merchandise on you once you enter the contest, and so forth. So they were, when I first started with looking at awards, trying to figure out which ones I should apply to. And they were an independent source to say go or no go. So what do they look at? They look at 5 criteria. Are they trying to recognize talent, or are they trying to take your money away from you? Does winning an award matter, or is it just insignificant? Is the judging process transparent and clear? Are the prizes appropriate? And do you not have to give up any rights to your book? So those were how they decide whether to give one of those levels, recommended, mixed, or caution. And on their website, each award, they tell you the name of the event, the rating, the organization, the website, the entry fee, the number of categories, and so forth. Now, the good thing about that site is it's free. Anyone can go and look at their ratings. And it's the most comprehensive list around, except for this new Award Pro app. The con, when I try to use it, I find that it's not kept up to date very well. Navigating around the chart is not easy. And you still have to go, when you pick out which ones you're interested in, you still have to go and research each one. Okay, so here's an example of one of their pages. It's an alphabetical order. They tell you what the award is, what the rating is, what the organization is. And like I said, then that's really all they tell you. You have to go do your research after that. So here's another way to look at an award summary, and this is done by Authors Marketing Guild. On their website, one of their presenters at a previous event made this list of awards, and as far as I know, it was last updated November 2019. So of the 3, I would say this one is a little bit less useful, but it does have some things that the previous one doesn't. It includes awards, some awards not on that Alley list because Alley just has 118. So it doesn't have specific awards for Texas. It doesn't have the real biggies. This list does, but the other list doesn't, like the Nobel Prize and the Penn Faulkner Award and so forth. Not that I think that I'm going to win any of those, but just it's nice to read about those other awards. So there are some other award summaries that I came across. These are like articles. So 39 free writing contests, 2020 writing contests, the ultimate guide. Well, it's not 2020 anymore, but still it gives you an idea of what awards are out there. Book awards for self-published authors and 40 book awards book authors should pursue. So those were all good articles that I was looking at when I was trying to scope out the awards landscape. So some things you have to think about is what time of year is it? When did you publish your book? What are the submission guideposts? You know, some of them are between January and March or between March and July. They're all over the place. So you kind of have to keep your eye on the deadlines. How much do they cost? This is basically, you know, if you're spending $75 for an award, are you going to get that back and increase book sales? I'm not sure about that, frankly. What is the prominence of the awards? I really didn't have much idea of this when I started out, but I have a lot better sense of it now. And what is the niche? You know, like I said, mystery or so forth. They have a lot of awards for mysteries. In my niche, travel books, I don't see that many awards, you know, so it's a lot less. And if it's a niche book, you're really not going to do well at something like a Reader's Choice Award because not that many people are going to read your book and vote for it. So my first book, which is on the Camino, has won 4 awards. The first one was this eLit Award. It's a national award. It's good recognition as far as I'm concerned. But it's for the e-version of my book. And then I went in for the free Joel Friedlander free monthly contest on my cover, and my cover was awarded a gold star. I put in for the self-publishing review, and I was chosen as a finalist. That's the top 10%. So I didn't get number 1 or number 2, but I'm in the finalist category, and that's amazing since it's a national contest, in my opinion. And then I also got first place here in Texas for the Texas Authors Institute of History, which is another organization that is run basically by Alan Bourgeois of Authors Marketing Guild. So I've got those 4 awards. I have applied for 1 more award, and then that's going to be it. I'm not going any further with awards for this book, in part because it's a 2020 publication date, and most awards are given the year after the publication year. Okay, so here's some suggestions. If you just want to get an award, any award following Mike Howiss's recommendation, then you want to look at the awards that have a high number of categories, because the more categories they have, the more chance you have to get something in one of those categories. So I would say like the Jenkins Group, which has the Independent Publishers Award, the IPPEs, and they also have the eLit, which is the one I applied for and won. So they have lots of categories, and without being cynical about it, I think they try to, as best they can, to make sure that a lot of authors get an award. Okay, for prestige, on the other hand, the Ben Franklin Awards issued by the Independent Book Publishers Association is very prestigious. And the Book Life Prize by Publishers Weekly is also very prestigious. Now, these are not, I mean, these are really hard to get. I'll put it that way. The one that I really like is the SPR. This is the Self-Publishing Review Awards. First of all, the entry fee is a lot lower, and it has a nice long period for applying. You know, this is like 6 months this is for last year, of course, but it'll be the same coming up. And you can pay an extra sum and get the reader's comments. Now, at first I just entered the contest, but then when I did well in top 10%, I decided to go ahead and ask for the reader's comments. And they have 3 readers for the text, and then 1 reader does the design and gives you an award. And I have to say, these were some of the best comments I got from any of the reviewers I've had look at my book. So I thought that's great. I'm going to continue with SPR. Now, there's a bunch of free ones. I've mentioned Joel Friedlander, the book designer. He has a monthly contest for book covers. It's absolutely free. You just put your book in. My book got a gold star. Again, it didn't come in first, but it got, a good ranking. The Kindle Book Awards, etc. These are all listed here. Different things that are free. You can try them. Unfortunately, like Texas Author Project, they want an adult or young adult book, fiction only. Well, I don't write fiction, so I automatically can't do that. The same thing with Philosophical Society of Texas, fiction, nonfiction, but that's not my area. So you sort of have to find, your niche and then look around and see what there might be for free in that area. Now, there's also a lot of regional and state awards that you can look at. I won in the Texas Institute of History, which is under Authors Marketing Guild. I got a first place prize for travel writing in that. This year, he's changed, Alan Bourgeois changed how they're going to run it. Instead of a $75 fee, or it's now down to $50, but they're limiting the categories. So the categories now are only fiction, nonfiction, children's picture book, middle school, and YA. So he's really cut down the number of categories to try to make sure that the really good books win the awards. And you can submit right now winners for 2021. The winners will be announced in April 2022, and then they're presented at the summertime AMG event, which unfortunately I can't go to myself to receive my award. Another one that one of our friends, two of our friends recommend highly is this North Texas Book Festival. And they have their meeting in August. It's a reasonable fee to apply, and you have a good chance of winning. And there's 13 categories, including the only contest I've seen that takes Spanish language submissions. Here's one I'm really interested in for my new book is the Texas Blue Bond Awards, but frankly, it's very opaque to me on how you apply. And I started working on it and I put it aside and I haven't gone back to it. A couple of others, etc. You can, and for we have another colleague who's a Black writer. This Ernest J. Gaines Award is fabulous. Look, at $15,000 for a fiction by an African American. You have to kind of just look around and try to figure out what there is. There could be a Greek American literary prize for all I know, but I haven't looked for that because I'm not Greek American. So here's what I recommend, kind of my top of the list. I think I have continued to apply for a Jenkins Group Award, either ELIT, which is for the ebook, or IPI, which is for the print book. Just give it a try. They have so many categories, you have a good chance of getting something. As I said, I really, really like self-publishing review. If you've done a good job on your book, you have a good chance of getting something here, getting in the top 10% finalist category. Joel Friedlander, I love it. It's free. Well, how can you lose on that? And then Alan Bourgeois, Authors Marketing Guild, the Texas Institute of History for historical, not whatever. It's about writers. It's a good one to try, if nothing else, because it's a local group. Like I said, he is becoming a little bit stricter on categories. Okay, that's it. Now, I'll be happy to answer anyone's questions. I'm going to stop my share unless, well, why don't I leave it up here for a little bit in case anybody has a question that I need to go back and refer to.
Julie, do you have a slide in there that shows how people can contact you if they have a specific question that you might be able to give some advice on?
No, but that's really simple. You can just email Julie at bayoucitypress.com. That's my direct email, Julie at bayoucitypress.com. Or you can send it to me on my website, which is Julie Connor Author.
And you also have a Facebook page or two?
I do have a Facebook page. Yes, I do. And you can just type in Julie Connor and I'll probably come up on Facebook.
Okay. So there are many ways that a really interested author who says, I need some more information about an award, and you've already been down this road, and I've seen this video, but I just need a little bit more. They can contact you, and you could either help them or you can't. But
right.
Okay. I'm going to go into the next part of this thing and ask you essentially what plans do you have in 2021, which is literally another 6 months, uh, as far as your writing goes. We've talked about what we did during the COVID vacation. We've talked about other things, but let's just take a look at a little bit of the future. I know we chatted just before we went live, but why don't you share what you think the other authors are interested about what you're doing as an author that that is worth sharing?
Well, I'm actually concurrently working on 2 books, actively writing one and doing the preparation for the other. I know, and I'm sure you've all seen, that one way to get more book sales is to establish yourself in a category, such as if you're a mystery writer, you start a series and you use the same detective appears over and over again. Well, it's hard to do that in nonfiction. But what I'm doing is I'm going to write, I hope, 2 or 3 books on the Camino. So my second book is going to be on a different way of doing the Camino. My first book was on walking the Camino, but one of the points I made in that book was that you don't have to walk the Camino. Just to experience it is very worthwhile. So for my second book on the Camino, in the Middle Ages, many pilgrims rode to Santiago de Compostela on horseback. So I'm going to do a horseback pilgrimage, I hope, if I don't get thrown and bust a bone between now and then. Because right now I'm practicing by, I grew up writing, but I gave up writing in middle adulthood, I put it that way. So I'm out of shape and no writing for many, I won't tell you how many years, but it's been a long time. So I'm back in the stables twice a week for 2+ hours, trying to build up my endurance to see if I can do this. Because to do a Camino on horseback, it's like 4 to 6 hours a day for a week just to do the last part of the Camino. So that's one thing I'm not actually, except for writing some Instagram posts and on my newsletter, I'm not really writing that yet because I have to experience it before I can write it. But I'm preparing to be able to write about it.
Julie, is your son going with you this time?
My son is a fully fledged Army infantryman, so he's not going anywhere. He's at Fort Bragg and he will be there for the foreseeable future.
Oh my goodness. Interesting. Tell him thank you for his service.
Well, it took him a while to figure out what he wanted to do, but maybe thinking along the Camino helped him decide. He's really matured and he did a great job in basic training. So
how old is he?
He's 29.
Okay, good.
So my other book that I am writing is a family memoir. It's not a personal memoir, it's a family memoir about my mother and father's families. And in a way, I'm starting with my great-grandparents and then working my way down. So there's like a chapter on each of these different people. And I've also already had a chapter on one of my family villains. And so, we'll see. Right now, I'm just writing my what I was told about the family. And then the second part of that is I'm going to go back and do research to see how much is actually true that I was told and how much was not true. And also I have a lot of family letters that I need to go through. So that's a longer project, and it's not going to be without controversy because my family, at least one branch, if I can say this, is on the politically incorrect side of the spectrum in that I grew up on a plantation. And I read a segment of one of my chapters to a writing group and they said, oh no, you can't say plantation. I thought, my goodness, even the word has been excised from a allowable lexicon. And no, this is my history. I grew up in a plantation, and so did my father, and so did my grandfather, and so did my great-grandfather. He lived there. So if I'm going to tell my family history, this is what it is. Anyway, we'll see if it goes. But
it's not a memoir if you don't tell it like it was.
Right, right. And so, but one doesn't want to be buffeted by too many blows. But on the other hand, when I look at what people are writing, a book about, because I'm from Louisiana, a book about set in New Orleans called The Yellow House, won a major award a couple of years ago. And it's about a house in New Orleans that was destroyed by Katrina and what the house meant to the family and how the family dealt with it and so forth. So these family type memoirs do happen. Another similar one that I read years and years ago is called Cane River. And in that story, the author reveals that, he or she, it's a he, I'm pretty sure, has Black relatives because of the family's history. And I am not aware that I have any Black relatives, but who knows? Maybe ancestry will turn up someone. Certainly, it's kind of a joke with me. My mother's family name is Singleton. So I have met over the years several Blacks named Singleton, and I said, oh, we might be relatives. So my research might turn up something in that field. Anyway, for me, my family is very unusual and interesting because of that. We'll see if other readers agree.
Well, I can't wait to see the presentation on that one.